fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here. And now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya. And well, the Warbound have come back to Earth, and Midoriya has discovered his memories. In the last part, he confronted Charles Xavier, and revealed that he is not Charles. He is something worse. He is Onslaught. Now, Midoriya did then start fighting against the other mutants, or the ones that were remaining. And we do have the present, where Midoriya he is currently walking towards Kitty and Kirk, as he does have unfinished business with these two. Now, you actually do have, let's say, another mutant, Iceman, who does actually come in. Him trying to freeze Midoriya where he currently does stand. However, Midoriya, he just turns the ice straight into water, before looking over at Iceman just telling him that he really should not do that, before bringing his hand backwards and sending him flying away. As you do then have Cyclops who does come in. Him trying to blast optic beams at Midoriya. And Midoriya who does just take the beam head on with his arm, before splitting it in two. And then bring up his other hand and going to blast Cyclops into the gut. Now, Cyclops is knocked back and off of his feet, as Midoriya does then look around. Not really anyone does remain on the battlefield. He's already taken them down, or Rogue is currently taking on their abilities. Now, you do actually have Rogue, who she actually does have Emma Frost in a chokehold. And she does have her legs wrapped around her back, trying to keep her still, and take on her mutant abilities, especially because of how powerful they are. Now, Midoriya would turn to Rogue, and somewhat smile, before turning back to Kitty and Kirk, as he doesn't start walking, asking if they really did think that this would not come back to haunt them. Now, Kirk, he's trying to think. He's trying to wonder, is there anywhere they can go? Any place Midoriya doesn't know about? Damn it. He can hear us Salad screaming, he of course could find us anywhere. Now, Kirk, he was Midoriya's best friend. He knows all of his abilities. He knows his feats. But right now, Midoriya, he doesn't know anything about him. This guy standing in front of him is not his friend. It can't be. Now, there is that whenever Midoriya, he does just stand in front of both of them. And he does look down, asking if they're not going to try running. To which Kirk would just say that he's going to face this. And Midoriya does just look at him. And he does actually start to laugh, as he does just ask him what does he plan to do to him. All he can do is teleport, that's it. Now, he does go on stating that he might be right there. However, he is forgetting about one thing. Now, Midoriya is confused, as he's socked across the face, and he's sent barreling away to the left, as he is then stomped on by something, before he does just get back up. And watch as you do have the Juggernaut, who he does try to slow himself down, Now, you do actually have Kirk, who does teleport on top of him, before grabbing him and then just teleporting again, as the Juggernaut is turned around. Now, Kane Marco is confused. However, Kirk does just tell him to not worry about it. He can help. Now, you do then have Midoriya, who does just look up at these two, before turning to look at Kitty, who she does have a dangerous idea. Her going to face her hand and go to throw it up into Midoriya's body, as she does want to at least stop his heart temporarily. Now, she does go to throw up her hand. The moment she does, Midoriya does phase straight through it, and she's caught off guard. Before Midoriya just to look down at her and sigh, before bringing up his fist and casually punching her, and sending her flying. Now, the moment he does do that, he does brace himself, and go to bring up his hands. Now, quite a few people do watch Midoriya, as the Juggernaut is running right at him. He doesn't have to hold back his speed. This guy on his back's just going to turn him around if he misses. Now, the Juggernaut goes full force at Midoriya, and the two do collide. The Juggernaut's still running, as Midoriya is still there with his feet firmly planted. And the Juggernaut does tell Midoriya, as the two are currently making their way off the residence, that it's impossible to stop him. Once he gains momentum, he can't be stopped. Now, Midoriya, he does just look at him, and he does somewhat smirk, as he does use his shape-shifting abilities, and he begins to grow larger and larger. At this point, he's around the size of the Hulk, and he's towering over the Juggernaut. As you do have Midoriya bring up his other hand, and then directly go to grab Kirk. Now, Kirk did try to teleport. However, whenever Midoriya grabbed him, the two, they were stuck in place. Now, Kane Marco goes straight through the area, and these two, they do reappear a few seconds later in the same spot, as Kane Marco is still barreling forwards. And Midoriya, he does just hold Kirk in his hand, as he does then just bring him right up to his face, before bringing up his other hand and ask him if he knows how it feels. What? To be betrayed? You were my friend once, so I can at least offer you one thing. Now, you do actually have the Stepford Cuckoos, who are currently trying to talk Midoriya down. Now, they would look into his mind. He does allow them that. And you actually do have the Stepford sisters all begin to think, looking through all the information Midoriya has gone through, everything about it. Half of it they don't even want to live. But then there's whenever they were set free, things begin to get better. And it does seem to be quite interesting, to say the least. Now, Midoriya would then show them the day the bomb was detonated. And they all do watch on in horror. Now, this will be where they do give up. And some of them, they do take off running. They don't want to be here. That was too much. And they almost want to switch sides. Now, Midoriya, he does then bring his attention back to Kirk, as he does just tell him that this is because he did the one thing that was the most foolish he could ever think of. I trusted you, Kirk, and you betrayed that trust. Now, Midoriya would just bring up his thumb and flick it, as he breaks Kirk's neck, killing him. Now, Midoriya, he would then just set him down in place. And as he does shrink back down, he would look down at his friend before closing his eyes. And then at least telling Rogue that they're done here. They need to go find Charles. They weren't the mission. Now, Rogue, she does actually armor down her skull and tell Midoriya that she's having a bit of fun, talking about how she has these mutant abilities and these mutant abilities. Midoriya saying that that's good, but if she is going to take keepsakes, then to take them now. They do have to leave. Now, Rogue does frown, as she does actually grab Colossus and fight with him. She's always been curious about that metal skin, and she's used it in training before. It's an ability she's very familiar with. Sure, this diamond stuff might be stronger, but she hasn't seen the limits of it. And she's curious about what happens when the two are mixed together. Now, she would absorb Colossus's mutant power, and he's effectively human. Now, this is quite strange, as the two would then leave. Now, they do head back to New York, and the X-Men are left there to rebuild, as they do eventually find Laura. She was tossed over 500 miles away, and she did have to call it through a payphone just to try and understand what happened. Now, back in New York, you do currently have the Hulk, who he is dismantling a whole lot of superhero groups trying to take him down. Along with, I think it's called Gamma Force. They're supposed to be specifically to target the Hulk and fight him, but that never ends well. Now, we do have Midoriya, as the Hulk is currently going after another target. He's going after Iron Man. And Midoriya and the Warbound, they are actually making sure that people stay out of the way. As you do have Midoriya staying there in front of a whole lot of police and protesters, as they are trying to understand everything. As they do look at this mutant and ask him exactly why are they doing this. And Midoriya would just tell them that he doesn't need to explain this to them. They're just lowly humans. Now, a lot of them do get offended by this. However, Midoriya would just wave his hands, and he would actually just erase a lot of their mouths, which do strike fear into all the humans. Now, Rogue was actually there with him, as she would then just tell all of them to be silent. All of their lives, every single day of it, they have done nothing wrong to them. Yet, just because of their abilities, they treat them differently. We are a species, yes. However, then there is you. You are afraid of us. That is why you fear us. If you try to understand, maybe we wouldn't have done this. Now, Midoriya, he does actually go to bring up his hand, and he would snap his fingers, as he's hit in the face. And you do actually hear a thud. Now, Midoriya, he's sent flying off of his feet, as a gas does form on his face. Now, Midoriya, he does go to look around, wondering who could have done that, as Captain America does walk up with a few of the Avengers. Now, he does try and tell Midoriya that this isn't right, and he knows it. However, Midoriya, he just tells Captain America that he doesn't even really know what's been happening, does he? Now, Captain America does reveal that he does remember the alternate timeline. Midoriya would tell him that he does remember the Illuminati. However, that part does confuse Cap, since he was unaware of that. He knew that they got together and used the gauntlet. However, he didn't exactly know to what extent. Now, Midoriya, he does just look at Captain America, along with the other Avengers. Hawkeye, Black Widow. I'm trying to think of... There is a shit ton of Avengers now that I think about it. Anyways, now, it's basically a giant superhero team. And Midoriya, he does stare them all down. As he would just bring his hands up and form them in a fist before pulling them down, as the teleporter on the ship above does activate, and the Warbound are summoned. Now, you do actually then have Rogue, who does look over and see Midoriya, a smile on his face, along with that bloody wound. It's the face of the man she loves. It's the face of the warrior. Now, Midoriya and the Warbound do rush in, as Midoriya immediately heads for Captain America. Now, Midoriya, he does smash straight into the shield, and Captain America is caught off guard. As Midoriya, the moment he did smash into it, he immediately went to go rip it free from his grasp. Now, Captain America, sadly, he got his arm pulled off by this, and the other Avengers, they were caught completely off guard. Now, Steve Rogers would fall to the ground and go to grab away at the wound. As Midoriya, he does hold up the shield before pulling Steve's arm out of it and dropping it to the ground in front of him. And he does then just hold the shield in one hand. I respected you once, you know. Captain America looking up, as that boy he saw one day no longer exists. And he can just see the, emotion. It's not there. Midoriya genuinely enjoys this. He's become a villain. Now, Midoriya does just tell Cap that it's this being where someone does try to come in. And Midoriya, he does just go to bring his hand backwards and swat them away. Now, Midoriya, he backhanded Hawkeye with enough force to knock his head off. Now, the humans are watching this, as Midoriya, he's killing the Avengers. Midoriya then just bring the shield overhead, and telling Captain America that his dream of a better world will come true. He just won't be here to see it. Now, this is when Midoriya is hit with a hammer, and he's sent flying, as he does go to gain his bearing. Now, the Warbound do alert Midoriya that it's this being when Midoriya is hit once again and struck by lightning, as he does just tell him that it's not him, it's Thor. Now, Thor does just hold up the hammer and look at Midoriya, telling him that he's fallen so far. Now, Midoriya does look at Thor, asking him if he knows what it's like to be a warrior, to which he would just respond with yes. Now, Midoriya would just tell him that ever since the day he was born a mutant, he's been fighting. And on Sakaar, things are no different. So whenever the fighting finally ended, look at what they did. Midoriya asking Thor if he knows what it's like to lose a home, to which Thor does not respond. Now, Midoriya does rush forwards, and using the shield, he actually would collide with Thor. Thor smashing down on the shield as Midoriya, he actually would go to bring it upwards, and move the hammer out of Thor's way, before punching him across the face with a right hook. Now, a battle does ensue between Midoriya and Thor, as Thor does try to use Mjolnir and take Midoriya down. However, every time he does try to land a blow, he uses Cap's shield, and it doesn't work. Now, Midoriya, he does eventually decide with Thor that things are going to be different, as he would drop the shield and just bring up his hands, telling him that he's going to do things the way things should be settled. Now, Thor is confused. However, he does somewhat understand this. If they're going to do things the Earth way, you might as well do it the Earth way. Him bring up his hammer and dropping it. Now, this would be whenever he does just drop it on Cap's shield. And he does then look down at it, as it does still hold Steve's blood. And he does then bring up his hands and rush towards Midoriya, as the two do fight. Now, Midoriya and Thor, the two do go back, well, not back to back, blow for blow, and are constantly just throwing each other around with power. And Thor, he is enjoying this. The pain he's feeling, his heart throbbing in his ears, and, well, the feeling in his knuckles. This is a feeling he's forgotten. And Thor almost loses it, him beginning to go into a berserker rage, as Midoriya and him are fighting. Now, eventually Thor does throw a right hook, and Midoriya, he would just go to grab it and twist his arm, before being able to restrain Thor's right arm behind his back, and then just telling Thor that it's over. Now, Thor does go to sock back his arm and try to hit Midoriya, as Midoriya would catch it and immediately just pull it backwards, breaking it, before kicking Thor down to one knee. Now, Thor does fall forwards, and Midoriya, he does then bring up his hands, and he snaps Thor's neck. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed.